Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in the world watching it is good evening to me. Well, it's actually a late afternoon. It is a boiling hot day here in Australia. Don't swipe away. Don't switch off. Sit in the car, relax, wherever you are watching to this. Welcome back to Nurturing Leadership. Today's episode is all about change of management. I know that's something that we don't really often think about, and the deep effects to our brain, and kind of understanding the brain's response to change when management changes. But it's not everything I'm going to talk about today is not necessarily just about change from in leadership, but it could be change in terms of roles in the team, dynamics, changing of teams constantly every year, maybe depending on what line of work you're in. My mind always goes back to the education system because that's where I stem from. Things constantly change there. I think it's important that leaders understand the effects of the brain, not only from their perspective as well, but also from the people they're supposed to lead and supposed to inspire on a daily basis. But just a few side notes, just quickly, if you've not already subscribing, please subscribe on YouTube. Give us a follow on all the other social networks. I am on TikTok, but very rarely use it. Still getting used to that, but mainly on Facebook, Instagram, Nurturing Leadership. Please give us a follow. I think the Facebook page is the Nurturing Leadership page. And on Instagram, it is just nurturing_leadership. Give us a find, give us a follow, and give us a share here and there. It really, really does go a long way. And I'm not asking for any money in return. I promise. I'm doing this because I love reading all the neuroscience-based stuff. I'm always been passionate about the leadership side of things as well. So yeah, I'm just putting it all in to one, giving it hopefully a nice listen for people. And if nobody's listening, that's okay, because as Jim Quick says, once you say it to somebody else, you're learning it effectively twice. And really, that's the main reason why I'm doing it. But I just love the human side. I actually interviewed, you guys are going to love this. I actually interviewed for my other podcasts. This episode won't be out for quite a while, probably looking at the July, August of 2024, depending on whenever you listen to this. But I interviewed the founder of the House of Leaders. The House of Leaders are a huge company out of Jakarta, Indonesia. Mr. Brilliant Lou was absolutely fantastic. He talks about his motivation, his inspiration behind creating the House of Leaders. If you please follow them on Instagram. They are huge on there. He was so vulnerable. Parts of him was shy and nervous, and it was just amazing that he put himself in that position, because he speaks in front of hundreds and thousands of people on a daily basis. Yet he showed his vulnerability, and I think that's really, really important from leaders. And he just really aligns with everything I think about when it comes to being a nurturing leader. It's just absolutely fantastic. But on that side note as well, please go over to Leading Our Own Way, LOOW, but it is Leading Our Own Way on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It's all on there. Please give that podcast a follow. That is also one of my other babies. But yeah, I think let's get into the episode though. But change of management, it is a constant thing in today's dynamic business, and that environment, when it constantly changes, the brain has to respond to it, right? And the leaders play a pivotal role in navigating how managing change within their organizations goes, right? That's really, really important. And there's a neuroscience side to it, right? Neuroscience has uncovered valuable insights into how the human brain responds to change, shedding light on, the cognitive, cognitive and emotional processes that do influence individual and collective behaviors. It's, the parts of the brain, I'm hoping I'm saying this right, the amygdala, I think it's amygdala. Yeah, the amygdala, and that fear response. Because at the core of the brain's response to change is that part, the amygdala, right? And it's a structure responsible that's deep in the brain for processing emotions, particular fear and anxiety. Because when individuals encounter that change, especially significant or unexpected changes, and remember, significant could be when we still get noticed, but it's such a big change, and that leadership changes, we know they want to come and put their imprint on it, because they need it. The leaders who change or come into the new workplace need to put an imprint on it. So I think they kind of do it to make people understand, hey, I'm here now. and we need to respond to me being here, which isn't necessarily always the best way to go forward, is it? But because that those unexpected changes, the amygdala perceives them as a potential threat, triggering that fear response that I mentioned. So this innate reaction can lead to resistance, anxiety, and uncertainty among team members. Think about it. I think just try and reflect now in moments, because that happens quite a lot. It's happened to me, and I'm a confident person. So somebody who doesn't like change in particular, this can really set in some of those fear factors like anxiety as well. Effective leaders do understand the role of the amygdala, if they've ever studied it. Well, because we want them to be effective. They might not consciously think about it, but if they do and are aware of it, brilliant, right? Because they have to understand that role, because in the fear response and how they employ strategies to mitigate fear during change initiatives, clear communication has to be paramount. It really, really does, because that helps alleviate uncertainty and provides a sense of direction and purpose. By explaining the reasons for change, outline its benefits, because some people think they don't need to know why. They've got to have respect and just do it. No, that's old school. It really gives that sense of purpose and direction, doesn't it? So by explaining that reason for change again is outlining its benefits, because sometimes you might not always agree, but if they outline it and justify it, you can probably more often not just respect it. That's what I do. Sometimes I don't agree with change, but I feel like I've got that perspective that leaders have to think about maybe another side, and hopefully then there's an element of the trust going into it, isn't there? The trust that they're doing the right thing as well. But I think if you to build that connection and stop breaking that connection and keep that bridge of trust there, giving the reasons of direction and outline those benefits and addressing concerns proactively, leaders can create a more conducive environment for embracing the change. But strategies for, let's have a look at some strategies for mitigating fear and resistance. Again, clear communication. Leaders should communicate openly and transparently about the upcoming changes, including the rationale behind them, expected outcomes, and implications for individuals and teams. Providing a clear roadmap and timeline can definitely help alleviate uncertainty and that anxiety that we all hate and worry about so much and probably overthink sometimes. Emphasizing the benefits of change. Again, when we're emphasizing the benefits of change, let's look at it as small percentage change, so not big changes. I think that, sometimes you probably can't avoid the big change, but if you can do it over a long game, the infinite game, play that infinite mindset, from coming from Simon Sinek, that small changes are easy to navigate for the body and mind, isn't it? So yeah, highlighting potential benefits of change, such as increased efficiency, enhanced collaboration, or improved outcomes, that just simply motivates team members to embrace that change rather than resist against it, right? Create psychological safety. A big one not many people think about, but foster an environment where team members feel safe expressing their concerns. And when they do express their concerns, they could bring and highlight to you as a leader things that you never even thought about in that process change. And you might have to rethink things. You might want to rethink things because you've not seen that before. Have smart people around you. Asking questions again and sharing feedback without fear of judgment or reprisal. This psychological safety encourages open dialogue and promotes a culture of trust and collaboration. Engage and involve team members. Doesn't happen often enough. That's why I put that one last. Involve team members in the change process. Seek their input, soliciting their ideas and involving them in decision making whenever that is possible. Because this sense of ownership and involvement can increase buy-in to the new cause and definitely reduce resistance, right? Leveraging brain plasticity for adaptation. I've done an episode on neuroplasticity because it's another crucial aspect of neuroscience in change management. Because the brain's plasticity is the ability to adapt, rewire. Again, go back to that episode if you need to rethink about what neuroplasticity is and form new neural pathways. When we think of something, when we learn, when the brain moves, the brain grooves. And it grooves because you learn new things. Otherwise, it gets smaller. We want it to get bigger. We want it to pound with passion, right? So leaders who knowledge to facilitate adaptation and learning during change involves Encourage continuous learning. Some people are tired, and they've been in the job for a long time. I get it. But if you promote a culture of continuous learning and skill development within the organization, it offers, offering training programs, workshops, resources that enable team members to acquire new skills and knowledge, that are relevant to the changes underway. And people feel good when they're learning and they're feeling valued in that new process as well. Providing support and resources, crucial. Offering that support resources such as coaching, mentoring, or access to new learning platforms to help team members navigate the changes associated with the new change that's going to be in place. Providing adequate support can reduce stress and anxiety, making it easier for individuals to adapt and learn. Again, it comes back to providing support, making people's jobs as easy as possible. That doesn't mean never changing. That doesn't mean let's just keep it easy for the rest of our life and never change. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying to make the process of change as easy as possible and as comfortable as possible. And then after that, let's celebrate progress and milestones, right? So acknowledging and celebrating milestones and achievements related to the change initiative. Not just at the end of a week, but ongoing little celebration, right? Moments. Recognizing progress reinforces positive behaviors. So they'll want to come back the next day. It'll motivate them for the next day. It'll motivate those team members to continue adapting and embracing new ways of working. Again, I've done an episode on emotional intelligence, right? But now let's look at it with the spin of change in leadership. Emotional intelligence plays, again, that crucial role in effective change leadership. It really encompasses, tongue twister, emotional intelligence encompasses the ability to recognize, to understand, to manage, and express emotions effectively, both in the oneself, right? The self always has to begin with the self. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And obviously, the people that you're working with. So leaders with high emotional intelligence can navigate the complexity of human emotions during change more successfully. So let's have a look at practice empathetic leadership. All right. Demonstrate empathy towards team members by understanding their perspectives, acknowledging their emotions, and showing genuine concern for their well-being. It's not just about, hey, are you okay? Let's get on with the day. Empathetic leaders build trust and rapport, making it easier to guide teams through change. Active listening. Cultivating active listening skills by giving full attention to team members. And that could be as small as don't have an iPad, don't have a phone on the table, because that is subconsciously telling the person who's listening to you that thing down there is more important if the call comes through. Put it away. Those subtle little things, right? Because often active listening fosters open communication and helps leaders gain valuable insights into the concerns and needs of their teams. Manage emotions effectively. Leaders should also be adept at managing their emotions and maintaining composure during challenging situations. You can almost see it in people. You can see it whenever you go into, I've said this example before, but when you go into a meeting and you come out stressed, that's usually because the people in the meeting or somebody close to you or somebody conducting the meeting is stressed, so you come out stressed. It seeps out and it goes into your realm, your area, and it enters the system. There's evidence on that. I can't quote the studies on it, but they're definitely in some of these books. So I don't want to name the names on it just right now because I can't remember off by heart. But by remaining calm, composed, and positive, leaders can inspire confidence and resilience in their teams. So let's look at some practical applications, because to illustrate how these neuroscience-informed strategies translate into the real world applications. You got some. I think there's plenty of case studies out there. I think there's one that was based on a technology company, and it had an agile transformation. A technology company undergoing an agile transformation faced challenges in getting teams to embrace new ways of thinking, new ways of working, and the collaborative side of it. The leadership team recognized the importance of addressing the fear of change and promoting strategies among the employees. So they conducted how they did if we go back to some of those strategies before, how they conducted some of the clear communication aspects of it. The leadership team conducted regular town hall meetings and Q&A sessions to explain the rationale behind the agile transformation and its benefits and the support available for employees. training development, extensive training programs on an agile methodologies, collaboration tools, and communication skills were provided to that. And I'm reading this from something that I'd read, and I thought it was important to jot down. And let me have a look. And they provided employees with the necessary knowledge and skills for the new way of working. Workshops on emotional intelligence and resilience were also conducted to help employees manage the stress, navigate the change, and how they related to their emotions, and foster empathy and understanding within the teams. So the outcome was increased employee engagement and collaboration, improved adaptability and agility in responding to market changes, and enhanced team performance and innovation. There is another case study, but I'm not going to go into that. But that was about the healthcare undergoing like a cultural shift towards patient-centered care. And it faced resistance from some of the staff members who were accustomed to traditional practices. And this, I suppose, correlates down to the education system as well. We've in the education system in the last 15 years, we've changed the way spaces appear, how we cater for certain needs emotionally as well for the children. But then the teachers never really haven't been equipped to necessarily deal with that. They've had to learn on an ongoing basis, where a lot more professional development should be. So then we introduce individual roles to come and cater for the school needs. But really, we should be introducing trauma-based training for students, ongoing development for teachers, and also, more importantly, probably for the leadership, because they need to be a part of that. They've been out of that game for a long time with the hiring leadership. And, again, people say, I've got 20 years experience. Yeah, but have you taught at every level? Have you done every role at every level? Or have you repeated the same role 20 times? That doesn't mean you're experienced. You're just very experienced at one particular role. I've seen that over and over and over and over again. But some of the psychological safeties within that was, leadership implemented initiatives to create a psychologically safe environment where staff could voice their concerns, share feedback, and participate in decision-making related to that cultural shift. Leaders were also provided with training and coaching on emotional intelligence, which is, again, what I just mentioned, super important. Again, empathetic communication, and change the leadership to equip them with the skills needed to navigate resistance and foster culture of collaboration and innovation. Because, that's a good point, though, right? Because leaders don't often get the training on how to navigate resistance. We can teach people how not to be resistant or reactive and think about themselves, but we also need to train leaders to recognize that as well. Anyway, let's move on from that. But let's have a look at towards the end now, because it's going to be a bit of a shorter episode today. But coming to the end, neuroscience, it provides valuable insights into how the human body responds to change, offering a deeper understanding of change management in the context of leadership. So by leveraging this knowledge, leaders can effectively navigate and facilitate change within their organizations, mitigating fear and resistance, promoting adaptation and learning, and fostering emotional intelligence and collaboration along the way. So key takeaways for you as a leader or a leader of a team, middle management: understanding the fear response. Recognize that change can trigger fear and resistance due to the brain's natural inclination to perceive change as a threat. Oh, I don't know if you're seeing this, but I just got a tick. when you put the thumbs up on FaceTime. I'm filming on my computer, but I've just got a thumb up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. Sorry about that. Where was I at? So the brain's natural inclination to, perceive change as a threat. Mitigate fear through clear communication, emphasizing benefits, don't forget that, creating psychological safety, and involving team members in the change process. Super important that you remember that. Leveraging the change of the brain, right? The plasticity, the neuroplasticity side. Again, go back to it if you're not understanding some of the language that I'm using, but capitalize on the brain's ability to adapt and rewire by encouraging continuous learning. When we learn something new, we connect the neural pathways through the synapses connections. They will connect and form a new neural pathway, a new skill learn. And then when they get used to it, you'll myelinate those neural pathways. Something I learned from the source, Dr. Tara Swart. You'll myelinate it with a fatty substance, and that will, it kind of puts a sheath, it's like, how can I say it? It goes around the neural pathway, and it makes the electrical transmitters, the pathway go quick. So, which means you've basically a new skill. Provide continuous learning, provide support and resources, and celebrate that progress and milestones. Again, emotional intelligence, quickly running through towards the end, develop emotional intelligence skills such as empathy, active listening. I would go deeper than empathy, if I'm honest. I would go to compassion, putting yourself in a physical state to help somebody. Effective emotional management as well is something that we're really focusing on in the workplace and in schools at the moment as well, to navigate those complex emotions during change and build trust and collaboration within teams. I just think, again, going back to the real life studies, read some real life studies. There's plenty out there. If I could find some and put them in the show notes, I will. But, applying these neuroscience informed strategies in the real world scenarios that you'll face every single day. Right. So, yeah. I was going to go with that. Yeah, I think that's, that we've pretty much covered everything there. If there's anything else you think I've missed on change of management and how we might be affected in the neuroscience sense, please leave your comments and email me at contact@nurturingleadership.net. Please reach out to give me some more insights and feedback to put into the episodes in the future. I'm learning just along how you guys are too. I'm just going to look over my notes to make sure there's nothing else I feel like we're not repeating. I feel like we've covered everything there. Yeah, I feel like I've done it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything I've covered. Again, if I've missed anything, please come back to me. But I hope everyone's having a great week. I'm going to let you know what we're going to do on next week's episode. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention. I hope last week's episode, it was an accidental. I should have included this at the beginning, really. But last week's episode I was going to do this episode last week, but me and my co-author of How to Lead with Purpose, we got together and we did another episode, and he kind of sprung something on me, and it was supposed to be for nurturing leadership, and we were just going to do, you guys have really, really watched that episode. We had a lot of hours watched of the episode with me and Mike, and then the viewership kind of dipped. I'm okay with that. I'm not offended, but I guess having somebody to talk to on a podcast is more engaging, and I appreciate that. And it's really got me wanting to get more people as guests on Nurturing Leadership. I suppose I'm finding that hard because I'm booking so many people in at the moment for the other podcasts, what I mentioned earlier, Leading Our Own Way. It's just so big. I'm so tied down. For example, this week, it's a Monday afternoon now, and I'm filming somebody on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there's more people to go to after that as well. That's just this week alone. I've been so busy with the guests and filming of Leading Our Own Way. It's absolutely incredible. The response is insane. I'm struggling to make trailers and do audios and artwork, and I'm finalizing it before that episode comes out. I'm aiming for that in like 7 or 8 days, but I need things to be a little bit more right. Not perfect, just a little bit more right. But yeah, so really getting the guessing is kind of going to that. And Mike kind of sprung something on. If you've watched it already, and if you haven't, I'm going to spoil it now, but please go back and listen to it. But he exposed is the wrong word, but and I've known Mike for so long. I mean, I've been in Australia for 12 years. I knew him for a long time through the game of basketball before I moved here. And he kind of let loose on something I think he thought I knew, but I didn't, about him being adopted, not seeing his mum, coming across his mum. And it kind of turned into a low episode, really. So I used it as a bit of a warm-up before I introduced the first guest, Mr. Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler. Again, it goes a lot deeper than the Aussie arm wrestling role. But, you guys have watched that a few times as well. Please go back and watch it. But I've put it as a Nurturing Leadership episode as well, but it was joint with Leading Our Own Way, and that's why it had all the purple stuff as the artwork on the front. Right, next week's episode, let's have a look. I think we're going to be wrapping up the neuroscience series. I need to change over my account here to have a look at my notes. I'm going to switch my accounts very, very quickly. Please bear with me if you want to know what next week's episode is, but otherwise, please say goodbye and tune off. But please hold on, I'll let you know. I think I'm kind of summing it up this season. because then we're going to go on to the victim series, which I'm very, very excited. If anyone wants to reach out, if anyone who thinks they've been victims of bullying, we're going to go through all the psychological effects of poor leadership or victim of bullying. And if you want to tune into that, if you feel that's close to home to you, we're going to do an episode on mindfulness and self-awareness. So mindfulness and practices and rooted in neuroscience, because that can really enhance self-awareness and emotional regulation in leaders. So this in turn enables better decision-making and leadership presence. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to be looking at empathy and emotional regulation, reduce stress, conflict resolution, adaptability, employee engagement, personal growth. Again, some of the factors that I mentioned at the beginning seems that we'll go through most of the things, but they will be all connected to not only neuroscience, but mindfulness and self-awareness. So look out for that. That is next week, unless Mike jumps up and we're going to get a surprise guest onto the show. Everyone, I hope you've all had a fantastic week. Keep being inspired. If you're in a position to inspire on a higher level, please take all these little bit of notes. I've actually had a few people message me before I go, telling me I'm allowing them to think and self-reflect on their approach to their role as a leader. I love it. Some people from the UK have messaged me, some of them friends, some of them strangers. And one that really sticks out is a friend I've not seen in a very long time. And she reached out and privately messaged me on my Instagram page, which, by the way, is awhite2345. And she told me how amazing it is to reflect on herself as a leader and reflect on her own strategies and path and purpose even. Went as deep as a purpose. Love it. It makes me want to come back and do more when people message me. So please don't be shy. Unless you won't want me to say anything, I won't. But please reach out, because it reaffirms of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and why Mike and I wrote the book, because there were times when we questioned it and I just know it's right. So keep it coming, guys. I love you guys. Please keep watching, keep sending me messages, and please go over to Leading Our Own Way right now. Follow everything, because the guests are amazing. I've learned so much. Anyway, I can't go on about it anymore. Have a great day. Turn off the engine, get to work, or go to sleep. I hope I've not bored you. Peace. Thank you for tuning into our Nurturing Leadership podcast, where we delve into the art of compassionate guidance and fostering growth. Your continued support is invaluable to us, so please subscribe and follow us on all your favorite platforms. We are currently on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Remember, great leadership starts with nurturing. Nurturing leadership creates lasting impact. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes filled with insightful discussions. We appreciate you joining on this journey. Thank you for listening.